What is a demonic possession?
You show your vulnerability and they will latch onto you.
Where can you find the demons?
Everywhere. First case, both the boys who are manically acting demonically possessed were actually brothers. He had an extramarital affair with my friend's wife. When this person is trying to stab himself, that person is trying to take something and stab someone else.
Within the movie, they've shown chants for Paimon and all that. Is it wrong for me to say the name?
You might experience a lot of accidents, something more dirtier than that.
All mirrors are portals?
Potentially, they can be.
Let's talk about this. This scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, dude. In your house currently, there's a lot of objects which probably have entities inside them.
There were all the objects and all that were kept inside, like kalashes and some blood stains around, ashes and everything. Yeah, a lot of dark stuff. A complete awkward silence over there.
What does an entity look like visually?
It was a frail young man who could lift up a sofa with his single hand. There's a big mirror.
I am wearing a cross locket that just fell off. It's been a while since we created a horror special on TRS. Dr. Savio Furtado is a demonologist. He's a psychic and he's part of the same crew that Sarabjit Mohanty and Pooja Vijaya from. That's all I'll say in this one. As is the case with any horror special on TRS, the intention is never to add darkness to your light. It's to help you understand darkness so that you can move towards the light. Enjoy today's episode of TRS. With these horror conversations, I don't know whether to make it scary or occasionally make it funny and break it up. So I don't know what's going to happen today. But welcome to our studio, Savio Furtado.
The honor is mine. Thank you.
How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing a paranormal conversation after a very long time. So I know today is going to be intense. The moment I saw you outside, I was like, okay, intense conversation today. How are you, my man?
All good. And I subscribe to that thought of yours that always keep it light. Yeah, okay. I can have the most weirdest of thoughts even on the most intense of horror. Haunted locations in a paranormal investigation. Yeah, I can do that. I'm weird like that.
No. I think that's how it should be, man. Like honestly, your subject is so heavy. If I have a paranormal investigator on the show, or anyone who's dealing with the paranormal on the show, I only keep that one podcast for that one day because by the end of it, I do feel a lot of heaviness. So I can't imagine what you guys go through regularly, every day. Maybe for the people who are not too familiar with the work that you and Sarba Bhai have done, why don't you just give a small intro on what you guys do as well as a small intro on yourself?
Yeah. Primarily, I'm an exorcist. Right. And that's how I joined the team because that is exactly what I brought to the table. And over and above, it was my psychic abilities that I developed over time. And it didn't just happen by magic. It was like a developmental thing. I'm more of a skeptic to begin with. And I question everything that happens. So even at haunted locations or in my exorcisms, I'll question everything. I wouldn't readily believe anybody who says that, what, I'm possessed or the devil is haunting me or something like that. I wouldn't really believe that. So going by our work, I bring that to the table, like handwriting analysis. I will read symbols. I'm a graphologist as well, an NLP practitioner and hypnotherapist. So knowing all these things, face reader, behavior analysis, everything. So knowing all these things, it becomes very difficult to deny that there is something more, something beyond this. And somebody has to be that crazy person. So that crazy person is me. So when I go to these locations, wherever we go, I do a lot of scouting. I do a lot of peripheral reading and I tell whether this place is worthy enough to be, investigated or not. So that's what I bring to the table. And we have diverse skills.
Okay. What is scouting and peripheral reading?
Scouting is going to the location actually and looking around for any anomalies, be it spiritual or even human interference, knowing exactly if there are any beasts or any creepy crawlies who are waiting to lurk around there. So that is scouting, going to know that if at all there are any interferences that are going to be evil from the legal side or from the illegal aspect. Yeah, like goons coming and probably even drunkards or druggists, right? So that's scouting. And peripheral audit is something that we do on a spiritual basis, like just going around and checking whether a place is really haunted or no, whether we really conduct an investigation or no. There can be abandoned places, but not every abandoned place is haunted. There are deaths in every house. It doesn't mean that every house is haunted. So it's everywhere. I mean, people right now share stories and reels of Begun Khoda, then of down that Hyderabad one place was there, and also it's not, I mean, there are deaths taking place everywhere. So it doesn't mean that every station and every train is haunted, every railway track is haunted. Yeah, there are happenings happening everywhere. So peripheral audit is all about that, knowing exactly whether a place is worthy enough to be investigated and what will we be unearthing from there.
Okay. What does your bio on Instagram says? Spirituality is the science of the paranormal.
That's right.
Okay. Man, I have so many questions from just this one statement. So I don't know whether to ask you this or whether to ask you stuff about what you've already said. What I will say to the audience, especially to those people who've not seen the episodes with Sarba Bhai, you guys have an extremely scientific method to go about, for lack of a better word, ghost hunts. I know you guys don't like that word. I'm sorry. But I mean, it's the only way I can encapsulate what you guys do to the general public. What word would you rather use? Paranormal investigations.
Research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys use devices that measure the electromagnetic
frequencies.
Okay.
Radiations.
EMF wave.
Radiations.
Right.
Right.
So y'all have a scientific procedure, and we've actually covered that in one episode with Sarba Bhai. So I'm not going to get into the details of it and break it down here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get straight to the center of the pie, Savio. What's the most challenging thing about a place that's actually haunted?
Proving that the place is haunted first.
Okay.
And secondly, how does it help our research? That's the most challenging part. Okay. Because wherever we go, we interact with so many different entities. We release them sometimes, and sometimes we just help them out. Sometimes we just leave it as it is over there. But we have to see this from a perspective as to where this is actually leading. We cannot just retire from life, just going to hundreds of different haunted locations and proving that this is haunted and this is not haunted. This is haunted and this is not haunted. It's not a right swipe, left swipe kind of a thing. We have to think how this is going to progress in humanity ahead. Because right now this is in a very gray shaded area. Paranormal research. There are people who will believe it, and there are people who are still skeptics who will not believe in this, right? And it's okay, peace to them all, for that matter. I have to see, or we have to see, how is our research or proving of whether a place is haunted or not haunted, how they are haunted, how they become haunted or not. Can they be cleansed? Is it just hallucination? Is it just hearsay that this place is haunted or person is possessed or what? How is this going to help the future?
Okay. For example, how does the download of knowledge that you get from your experiences help the future of human beings?
I'll tell you what. Right now we are psychics. So I believe, I'm much more a psychometric person. So that's called psychometry, wherein we touch objects, we touch surfaces, and because of the nerve endings that we've got, we read a lot of the surfaces. That's what I do. When I go, I read the rocks, I read the trees, I interact with the trees, I interact with a lot of different elements over there, and I get my answers, which is, again, it can be my own mind playing tricks, but then afterwards, if corroborated with facts and evidences and the history of the place, it always comes true. Like, for example, the latest investigation that we did at Vasai, down at Alibag, Pooja connected with the winds, and she could feel there are entities below the ground and there is a tunnel system, is exactly what even I got by touching the surfaces. And finally, we didn't know about this. But then after interacting with one of these localites over there, he told us that there is a tunnel system. I can show you that the other day. So these things have to be corroborated with facts, right? So what I do is I touch surfaces and I read it, and I also teach this to people who come to our Ghost Encounters tours. I also teach them that, and even they are able to do it very fantastically. Now, I document all these things. What is it exactly that I feel when I touch? Is it flashes of light or colors or faces or whatever that I see, or voices that I get and everything, right? Someday, if I'm able to translate this into technology, maybe I can, invent a laser that will just run around a wall and read whatever has happened over there. Can you imagine how beautifully, how helpful it'll be to solve even crime cases? You wouldn't require witnesses who turn hostile. You can just run your laser around and know exactly what happened over there, like how we do.
You think there's some kind of deeper scientific procedure at play which the world of science hasn't discovered yet?
Exactly. Because the day we stop venerating ICs and circuit boards, capacitors and resistance and all those technical things, right? And start studying the human body, like even in their ancient texts and everything have been read, right? If we look at it from a very pragmatic perspective, if we look at it from a very scientific perspective, that they were metaphors, but then every person is different and we all possess the same abilities. So if at all we learn this system of our neurons, of the nerve endings that we have and try to read things, what are different senses? Like right since birth, we've been always taught that we have these 5 senses. But these are just 5 topical senses. There are more than 20 senses in our own body, like 27 or 29 senses, like the sense of balance, the sense of hunger, the sense of appetite, the sense of thirst, the sense of intimacy. Everything is a sense. The sense of internal pain. It's not from the skin, it's inside somewhere. So everything is like the intuition that we have, the anxieties that we have, the trauma, everything is a sense. So the moment we stop venerating the gadgetry and delve more into human science, I think the world will be a better place to live in. We will unearth everything. That's the reason spirituality is the science of the paranormal.
Okay, man, you're a joy to talk to. I want to know a little bit about your childhood. We spoke to Pooja about her psychic abilities. Fantastic episode. Again, highly recommend that everyone go check that one out as well. She spoke about how all of us are psychic, but it's covered by layers of whatever we go through during the process of growing up and during the process of being an adult. That's why children are probably more psychic than adults. And as you grow older, you lose those abilities. Was it something similar for you?
No, not really. Not really. I mean, for me, it was very different. For me, it was very developmental, very slow and steady. I grew up with psychic abilities, and we all grow up with psychic abilities, as you rightly said. And Pooja said that there are layers of conditioning. Like, beta, yahan nahi jana, don't go here, don't do that. You should be doing this. You should be always eating with your right hand. Don't use much of your left hand, right? Don't get into performing arts more and concentrate more on maths and science and engineering and something. Everybody wants their child to be a pilot or an engineer. Those are those romanticized, say about way of lives, right? Whereas right now we're opening up to the possibilities that, you can be an artist, right? You can be a podcaster. Talk about like 15, 20 years ago, nobody would have really thought about it. But right now we're opening up to new vistas. We're looking out for new possibilities that people are adding or to the value of life being whatever they are good at. My childhood was pretty straight, pretty good. I had 2 elder brothers who are 9 and 7 years elder to me. And after that, whatever happened, then I was growing up under their tutelage. So I learned a lot how to be mature beyond my age. All my friends were like, say, about elder to me. Most of my friends were elder to me. They're still my friends. And that's how I grew up. Learning about everything about handwriting analysis, I learned from my brother. And he used to read a book, so I read from that. And then after his face reading and all on job, whatever like that. And then I was interested in knowing more about humans. I was good at events, hosting events as well as participating at parties. So I learned the guitar and everything like that. And I learned that there is more to humans. So reading them, talking to them, I know exactly what person can think what at what point of time, right? I would just sit on a park bench and just observe people walking around and check exactly, what is this person going to do next? From where is he coming? By his attire, by his walk, is it pacey or is it relaxed? Right, what he's wearing, his footwear, the expression on his face, or everything like that. It doesn't take much actually to see exactly what is going to happen. Whether he's come from a crime scene or is going to do a crime. The thing is, we've never really thought about it before. We are more entangled in our own selves, and now, more in our smartphones. But then afterwards, the more you interact with people, the more you learn more. So that's my childhood. That's been growing up, and then afterwards, in college and school, college, and all these things.
Where did the psychic angle begin?
It became developmental. As I said, handwriting analysis, from there to face reading, from behavior analysis again, and then after body language, then from there learning hypnosis, and then afterwards hypnosis therapy as well, and then afterwards getting into neuro-linguistic programming, how to use that as a therapy, right? From there, I understood there is something more to this. That's the time when I knew that if I touch surfaces or if I touch anything, I can sense the density or the history of that place or that object or that person even locations as well. I mean, once you learn about humans, where a person is going to get angry and you know what, you can actually calm him down without saying calm down, right? So once you learn about people, whether a person is lying or not, how do you actually, and what triggers a person, what are the buttons that you can press right or wrong, right? You extend this to locations, it becomes like another new skill. So that's how it has been. It's never that I was afraid, or it was triggered by fear, or it was anything else. No, it has been developmental.
Okay. So it began with a bit of pattern recognition and learning those skills. You worked on those, it became better. Then your life made you learn hypnosis as well as neuro-linguistic programming. And once you learned these two skills, you realize, wait, there's something more.
Yep.
I want to know about what that something more is. You said that you figured some more stuff.
Yeah, like in neuro-linguistic programming, I mean, not the NLPs that the present few practitioners actually teach about.
Explain what that means also, neuro-linguistic programming.
It's neuro, so it's about the brain. Linguistic is all about language, and programming, how you program a certain conversation or something like that. Right now, a lot of people are, passing on the fakery, if you can say that. Just believe in affirmations, or just be positive, or talk to yourself in the mirror, or whatever like that. That is not neuro-linguistic programming. That is just one part of it, probably a fragment of it. But neuro-linguistic programming is how you program your brain, or program somebody else's brain, and have a completely telepathic conversation. So if I say telepathy over here, people will say, oh my God, this is bullshitting. No, but it is not actually. It is about how I can speak. We can have a non-verbal communication as well, right? It's like reading between the lines and everything. So mirroring, anchoring, all these things that are taught in neuro-linguistic programming actually work.
Okay.
Right.
So basically, some sort of soft telepathy was learned by you in the process of you learning NLP, and then you realize, oh, wait, this is not covered by science yet, so there must be more to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then you started extending that skill to non-living objects.
True.
That's how you ended up meeting Sarba and Pooja?
Yeah. Pooja, I knew right from, I guess 2002 or 2004 or something like that. And then afterwards, we were on and off in conversations. Later on, I guess in 2015 or 2016, when they actually started pairs. At that point of time, they built a WhatsApp group, and she just broadcasted if anybody is interested in the paranormal or having a paranormal chat may join this group. And I grabbed that opportunity. I just said, you know what, I mean, even I'm into a lot of this, and I want to know something more beyond this. And so let me join that. And that's how exactly all the three of us got acquainted again. And that's how we actually all met.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the first case of the paranormal where you realized that, okay, hold on, this is actually paranormal, this is not a hoax? What was that feeling like? And tell me about the case a little bit.
The first case was of exorcism.
Okay.
It was a demonic possession of a dear friend, and that was handled by my brother, my eldest brother. And it was much more of a religious exorcism. So when I witnessed that was exactly when I got to know, okay, fine, things can really happen like this. Because it was a frail young man, maybe young, yeah, he was younger than me as well, who could lift up a sofa with his single hand. And he was puking all over the place and, you know, mouthing out a lot of filthy language and all, which he wasn't actually before that. And he actually manifested in a very demonic way. And it was handled by my brother very well, and he got exorcised at that point of time. But that's exactly when I got to know, okay, fine, you know what, there is something like this also.
How old were you?
This was in, I guess, 2006 or 2007.
Okay.
So that was like, 15 years ago.
Okay. And your brother was also an exorcist?
He is still.
He is still an exorcist?
Yeah.
Okay. Would he be open to giving us a podcast?
Yeah, he will be. But then afterwards, he will be more on the religious side.
That's fine. That's great.
Yeah, he will be more on that religious side.
Okay. Man, explain the word exorcist.
Anybody who can help a demonic possession.
What is a demonic possession?
As I call a demon is any other sickness that is unwanted in our body, right? So we have a lot of sicknesses in our body, in our soul, and in our spirit, right? If we have a cold flu, we go to the doctor. We exorcise the demon of flu. But for that, we don't need to do all the drama that they shown in the movies and everything like that, right? We just go take a paracetamol probably and cure the headache there and there, right? So that is an exorcism as well. But we never see exorcism like that. So even diseases on a mental level, on a spiritual level, are also diseases. We choose to call them demons. Why? Because the elderly, the older, the ancient people used to call them demons. Even leprosy, the demon of leprosy that they used to call, the demon of convulsions and fits that they used to call, right? These are all demons. These are all diseases, unwanted, but yes, they afflict us. So exorcism is just going one step beyond, say, about mental health therapists like the psychiatrist or the psychologist. Exorcism just goes parallel to that, just one step beyond that.
Okay. This particular case where your brother was involved, you said that your friend was possessed by a demonic entity. This happened in Mumbai?
Yeah, it happened in Mumbai.
So there are demons that exist in Mumbai.
Oh, everywhere.
Okay. But specifically about this case, what was the demon? Let's take it step by step. Basically, there's Satan, who is, say, the leader of the demons.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And then there's demons under him.
Even Satan is a demon.
Okay. Is he like the leader? Is he the number one?
Yeah, he is. He was the one who led the downfall, as we know.
Equivalent of the devil. Or same as the devil.
He is the devil.
He is the devil. Okay. Then he has people under him, like demons under him. So when you say this person was possessed by a demon, was it one of the demons under Satan, or was it an even lower deity? Like an even lower demon?
It was a demon. It was
okay.
just a demon. I mean, let's not put a hierarchy to demons.
Okay.
There are demons in everything. Yeah, you call them lower demons or higher demons, right? I believe demons are programmed, same as the angels. There are angels who will come as messengers, and they will just be messengers. They will not do anything else. There are angels who will come and help you, and that's it. Right? They will come and heal you, and that's it. So same way, a demon of maybe a pancreatic cancer cannot cause diplopia, or a demon of deafness cannot cause, say, about cripple or paralysis. He will not. So in the same way, a demon that is performing one function, even in the brain, will not do something else. Even in medical science, the first step for any therapy is to diagnose. Once you diagnose a disease through whatever medical reports and the lab reports that you get, you know exactly where to pinpoint your medication towards. So in the same way in exorcism, if you've watched those movies and all those things, it's always about identifying the demon. Once you identify the demon, then it's very easy to exorcise.
So every demon has its own weakness, basically?
Of course.
And you've got to target the weakness?
Of course.
For example, what?
Anything. I mean, for example, if a person is acting crazy at that point of time, it's the person is depressive as well as manic, so you know that person might be mildly schizophrenic. You target that.
Okay.
Right. You treat that in a particular way that is suitable for that.
Okay.
Exorcism.
Okay. These are more intricate spiritual procedures, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like a particular kind of prayer or a particular kind of ritual to beat the demon.
Yeah.
That's how an exorcism happens.
So when you say prayer and ritual, it is not very religious, again, not very orthodox. Right. Horses for courses. So a different person is a different person. Every person is different. So every mental illness is different. You cannot treat one depressed person like the other one. Right. Okay. So in the same way, you cannot exorcise the demon out of a demonic possession or possessed person like you treat the other one. Every person is different. So you don't go on the field over there right, directly in front of them and say, you know what, I've done it 10 different times. So this is exactly what I'm going to do now. You need to first find the history. You need to know exactly what are the symptoms, what is going to happen and all. And then afterwards, you perform the exorcism. It can be in a very calm and relaxed manner. It need not be all the who and hoopla and the drama.
Okay. Were you afraid when you were witnessing this?
Not at all. Fear is not an option at all.
Because the demon feeds off of fear.
Yeah. Of every emotion for that matter. Every negative emotion.
Like what? Anger?
Anxiety, anger, depression, sadness, fear, lust, greed, gluttony, all.
So if the demon spots one of these emotions in you, it starts targeting you.
Exactly.
So say it spots greed in you, it'll say something about money. If it spots lust in you, it'll say something sexual.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, true.
Okay. And you're just not supposed to give in.
Exactly.
And get it exorcised as soon as possible. Okay. So Are you comfortable talking about how your brother exorcised this particular demon?
Using the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah, and using scriptures from the Bible.
A particular verse.
Any verse for that matter, any verse that really matters at that point of time. Whatever it takes to actually minister to the spirit of that person and the demon, to exorcise the demon, yeah, he will use all that.
Okay. And how long is the process?
As long as it takes. As long as it takes.
So how long can it go?
It can go to a few hours as well.
Few hours?
As well, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Because sometimes a person is not willing to just give up.
The demon.
And yeah. And sometimes, as it happens in most orthodox exorcisms, like of every religion for that matter, the first step is to diagnose exactly what demon is there. Once you identify the demon, only then can you actually work upon it, right? So you're just shooting in the dark. Whereas my brand of exorcisms are very different. It comes from actually reading that person, knowing exactly when to approach it. So you can neither pour from an empty cup nor from a turbulent cup. And you can only pour in an empty cup or in a calm cup. So the moment the person is getting in a manic phase, you don't exercise that person at all. You just take it easy. Wait till he just calms down completely, no matter how it takes. You restrain him physically or mentally, or just calm him down. And then afterwards, you help him find the answers.
You're talking about the demon here, right?
Both the person who is actually afflicted and the demon.
Is the person who's afflicted, is that person aware that they're being possessed?
At that point of time, no. But once they get into the calm self, the manic phase is gone. That time he will realize what I was doing was really bad. I mean, I shouldn't have done that. And then he will probably feign ignorance and say, you know what, I don't know why I was doing this.
Why did this particular person get possessed and why not someone else?
Because he was vulnerable at that point of time. As you said, fear. The demons feed off fear. So it works like this, on an atomic level. If you go to see, the electrons that are there in an atom, right, will only latch on to another atom if at all there is a surplus of electrons or a deficit of electrons in the outer shell. Only then it gets attached, knowing about the positive and the negative charge and everything in that, right? So in the same way, we have our aura. If there is a gap in our aura, only then we are available for attachment to some other entity, right? Or if we have surplus energy, then afterwards we will go and give it to someone else, right? If that energy is negative, then you are prone to making somebody else negative, or probably you get possessed yourself or attached yourself.
Okay.
So in the same way, even a demon also just waiting to latch. You show your vulnerability and they will latch onto you.
Where can you find the demons?
Everywhere you go to a contaminated place, you'll get a disease, bacteria, viruses, right? So in the same way, you go to a haunted location, you go to any place for that matter, and you just display your fear of a certain thing, and the universe will make sure, okay, fine, you get back to the straight path.
Okay. Wow. Little small pause here. How do you feel about this room?
This room is good. Very positive, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I meditate a lot in this room. I personally believe that when you meditate, when you pray in any location, it cleans up the location a little bit. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Because the room fills up with your aura, and if you're positive enough, there is enough density in the room to drive off every other entity.
Does it also mean that this room is protected?
It is.
Okay. Now, bro, you are someone who's constantly dealing with these entities. Are they on you even after your cases are complete, or do they kind of latch on to you a little bit, maybe out of attachment? They do.
No, they don't. I mean, I don't allow them.
You don't allow them?
Yeah.
So say you have had a case where you've gone to a haunted location, you finished the job. When you come home, do you do like a bit of a cleanse? Do you do some kind of a protection ritual?
I do it at the location itself.
Okay.
Right there and there, right? I will just shun off the entities. I will just disappear. And that's it. I mean, from their vision. And I will not let them follow me anywhere. So there is no such as any physical activity. The only physical cleanliness that we have to take care is the hygiene after coming back. Because going to a contaminated location or a haunted location, when you come back, when you've touched surfaces, all you need to do is the personal hygiene.
Okay. No spiritual hygiene?
Spiritual hygiene right at the haunted location, like wherever.
What is the spiritual hygiene?
Whatever. Again, now, you said you meditate. I'm in a meditative state 24/7. Even when I'm having a conversation or probably, I mean, even multitasking, I'm always in a meditative state. So I'm there relaxed and calm, right? So that's exactly where I densify or whatever, increase the density of my aura. And that's exactly how it is. If I sense anything that is getting into me or whatever like that, I shun it off there itself. I wouldn't let it affect or reflect me.
Has anything ever come home with you?
Never.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the haunted objects, the charged objects that I have.
Why do you keep those, dude?
Collection, probably, I mean, whenever next, I mean, we'll make a museum.
Okay, cool. So many more questions. Let's begin by talking about probably the most challenging case you've had.
You're talking about exorcism or paranormal?
We can do 2
Investigations.
questions. You can tell me both.
See, there's in my exorcisms, there's one particular case that nobody knows about, that I haven't spoken about for a very good reason, because it also involved my friend and in a very awkward position. So I don't really speak about this. But then this was the most challenging case I've ever had till date. Otherwise, all the others were okay. I mean, I wouldn't put one over the other, but this one was the most challenging one. I was called by my friend, and his son was acting possessed, demonically possessed. So as a ritual man, as we always do, I asked for the photographs, and I just read the photograph and I said, okay, fine. No, he is having an occult presence over him. This is not just psychiatric. This is not just psychology. This is not just depression or a manic phase. This is something more than that.
What do you see when you see a photo of someone who's...
Read the aura, look at the face, read his face, whether there is a balance or an imbalance, right? And then afterwards, try to find the source of that imbalance, even in the body as well. I mean, there are certain depression, certain body language, the way that you stand and everything, that you display a certain anomaly, anything like that, and you need to correct that. That needs to be done. So that is exactly what I read in a photograph. So over here, I saw that there is some foreign entity that is afflicting this person, and this needs to go. And then again, I mean, I have to be very careful, because I come as an uncle to that person. So I cannot really be a therapist being a known person. So I have to distance myself, and then after speak with him and whatever. So I met this person 2 or 3 times, and I spoke with him exactly what's going wrong. Why do you act like this or whatever like that?
You met the boy?
Yeah, I met the boy.
With the demon on the boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I was asking him questions in a very calm manner. When he is in his calm state, like what exactly happens at that point of time? What exactly are you going through life? And everything. I got to know everything about it. Like, is he depressed? Is he being oppressed? Is he being bullied at school? Like, these are common reasons why, I mean, the person might act out, right? It might be psychiatric for all we know. But then after I found out, no, there is something more than this. Right, he is suddenly getting into a trance or something, like a situation where he doesn't remember what happens at that point of time. And I said, okay, fine, you know what, this needs to be resolved, this needs to be addressed. So it just took me 2 or 3 meetings to know that. Now, in the same time, what happened is, after say about a week, I got another call from a very stranger completely. And usually I don't take 2 cases at a time. But then after that, because he was pestering enough, I said, okay, fine, let me just speak to this person. And even he had the same thing. His son was having an issue. So I said, okay, fine, both like of the same age, both the same, probably like 13 or 14-year-old children. So I said, okay, fine, let me also take care of this person. So I called the photographs and I read the photograph and I said, okay, fine, over here also there's the same case that cannot wait. So I decided to meet that person as well. Now, friend can wait for some time because there's not much that is there. So the moment I met those people, I visited, he was in his manic stage. He was like banging his head around. He was like trying to stab himself with all different kinds of things, like a bottle, a broken bottle, a knife, right? And everything. He was flinging up tables up and down and everything. And this was happening there. And while this was happening, I mean, the second time that I met this person, I got a call from my friend as well. And the first time I didn't pick it up. I was like, no, I was in this. I need to be 100% over here. But what happened was, my friend was frantically calling me every now and then on a repeated basis. So I just decided, okay, fine, let me just take a break from here and receive this call. And he said, you know what? My son is having the same manic phase right now. So you want to take a look at it? And I said, okay, fine, show me. So we made a video call. So on video call, I can see both these children behaving the same way.
As in the body was moving in the same manner.
Yeah. When this guy is banging his head, this person is trying to hold on to somebody else's hair. When this person is trying to stab himself, that person is trying to take something and stab someone else. So it is like a reciprocal thing that is happening. And it was such a difficult thing to do because you're dealing with one person over here and then after there's another person also doing the same thing, right? And this I realized after some time. It wasn't very immediate. Like I just see and I get to know, okay, fine, I know it all. No. It took some time that, this is a pattern. And then after that I saw, when I asked them exactly about the history, when this happened, I found that my friend's son, as well as this boy, were having the manic phases in a rhythmic fashion, at the same time synchronically connected. So I took a recess. I told him, give me a few days. I need to go back and try to find exactly what is the pattern. Because this is very unusual. You don't find two possessed people behaving the same way in the same time. So I took, say, about 2 or 3 days, meditated over it, and found there will be a common connection. So what I did was I invited the parents to meet me at a restaurant. We met at a hotel. And then after we started talking over what is exactly happening. But there was an awkwardness over the table, which I recognized very easily. So what I did, I just excused myself and I just walked to the washroom. But from my peripheral vision, I could see what is happening on the table. And I sensed a complete awkward silence over there. Usually when people would meet in this case, would be talking about it. But there was an awkward silence, which made me find or decipher that these people are connected somehow or the other.
The twins were separated at birth.
Something more dirtier than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it would take less than imagination to know that one of them had been very dirty and had been doing, because this man that called me, I never met him. Okay, it was always the wife, the lady who would interact with me, and this guy was in a different town. He was a tuition teacher. He was running his own classes, and he was in a different town. So this is the first time I met him, and I said, who is this guy? And he said, he is my husband, and he's come from another town. And as the case goes, he had an extramarital affair with my friend's wife, and that son was his son. So both the boys who are manically acting, demonically possessed, were actually brothers.
Half brothers.
Half brothers.
Same father, different mothers.
Exactly. The same father, different mothers. Now, it was a baffling case. It was a complete conundrum. How do I actually treat it? Do I treat these people for they are demonically possessed and they are acting manically? Or do I go to the common connection over here and what do I do? Right. For example, I'll tell you one thing. When we, if at all, you go for a psychiatric or a psychological retreat somewhere, or you go for a counseling session somewhere, right? And you're cured of your depression or whatever like that. You go to a retreat anywhere. Right, you're completely calmed down. But the moment you come back home, and if you're getting into the same old shit, then you will be again depressed. So it's not only about curing that person or counseling that person. It's also about the environment that needs to be addressed. So that goes in exorcism as well. So I was in a conundrum right now. Where do I actually target this, right? And then afterwards, I talked to the father and I said, what is going on, what is happening, and all those things. And like neurolinguistic programming works, I found out that he was still into all these things. He was still into a lot of pedophilia. And whenever he used to indulge in that, I don't know exactly how, by the conspiracy of the universe, that these people used to get into manic phase. So this is something that we needed to address. But being in this situation, you just cannot go and tell him, you stop this. You cannot really do that. You cannot even tell his wife, because you'll cause an imbalance in the family. You don't want to do that. So how do I actually solve this? Now, this was like a paradox to me. I don't know exactly how to solve this. So it took me some time to counsel him out of it. I don't know whether I was successful or not, but it all stopped when he committed suicide.
The father.
When he committed suicide, both the boys stopped acting possessed.
Okay.
And I don't know whom to credit for this. Was it me as an exorcist? Was it the universe which conspired? Was it the father who put an end to all these things? Or probably the demon himself who just annihilated himself in that father rather than working on these people? What would you say?
Damn.
This is the most challenging case which I've never said anywhere on any platform. Why? Because obviously, there are lives involved in that, and people who know us closely will know exactly whom we're speaking about. But someday or the other, I mean, this had to be. So I'm still thinking over it. What exactly, when we talk about demons, when we talk about possessions, when we talk about all the manic phases and everything, this was very unusual to happen completely.
What happened to those two boys after this?
They're all fine right now. I've not heard
Perfectly
from
fine.
I've not heard from them for years. They're all good. Whenever we talk, it's all good.
Okay. Usually when you depossess a person, when you exorcise a person, what do they relay to you about the entity that was on them? Do they say that they could see it, they could feel it inside them, they could hear voices? What is their interaction with the entity?
They don't know. Mostly they don't know. In my exorcisms, I mean, it's not as romanticized as it's shown in the movies and all those things, like all the drama that happens. It's never like that. They do tell me exactly what they go through. Like they feel like killing themselves. They feel like the inners are being eaten up completely. Insides are being eaten up. They feel like completely a headache or a migraine, or they feel completely, say about on a killing spree or something like that, or completely violent. They just want to bang their heads or something, or harm themselves, or probably even commit a suicide, just jump off a building or something like that. They say that, but they're not able to identify the demon. That is my work. I have to know whether this is a demon of suicide, or whether it's a demon of depression, or whether it's a demon, probably, wanting to kill someone else, or probably a demon from his past life who is afflicting him right now again, or from the somewhere in the ancestry, or is it a result of any dark magic that's done upon this person? So I need to know exactly what. Once I identify the demon, then it's only then that I can counsel him and I can emancipate his own spirit and soul to let him get out.
Okay. I feel like all these cases that you're speaking of involve slightly more powerful entities. Are there weaker entities that actually latch on to a lot of people in the city and they don't even know that something is latched on to?
Of course. There's a common misconception that demons, a demonic possession is always localized with a certain person. Like if I'm demonically possessed, it's not necessary that I manifest physically like this, like a mad person, turning my eyes and climbing walls, or probably slithering through chairs and sofas and whatever. It's not necessary. A demon might possess you, and you might experience a lot of misfortune in your life. You might experience a lot of accidents. Whatever you venture in will not bear fruit. There can be a lot of fights or quarrels in the family as well, a lot of discord in the family as well. So these things happen when people tell us that, we go to haunted locations and we go, investigating, and we prove that a place is haunted. And then afterwards, there'll be detractors on the comment section that's saying, we go over here and party every day. We go every party every night. I've stayed over here all night and I've never felt anything like this. It's okay. It's okay, because you might go to a certain haunted place, or you might go to a very filthy place, and you might not see the bacteria or the virus over there. It's only when you, a trained person with all the entire hazmat mask or whatever the gown that they have, go and take samples on a cotton swab and rub it on right, see through a microscope, will they get to know whether there is a virus or a bacteria over there? So you might not feel that there is anything, but it is haunted. So in the same way, even demons also are everywhere. But the problem is people don't see them and they don't acknowledge them.
Okay. What's the most haunted location or the most uncomfortable location that you had visited?
Uncomfortable, I don't know. Haunted is my house. Yeah, because there are all these haunted objects. If I let them loose, it'll be all hell.
So in your house currently, there's a lot of objects which probably have entities inside them.
Yeah, they are.
Like your little demonic pets.
Yeah. What we do is whenever we go to any haunted locations or any cases that we resolve as a team, as pairs, team Sarvajit, Pooja and me. So what we do is we ask those people, those private cases, whether you want to, completely discard this or you want to give it to us. And a lot of them are very generous enough to say, okay, fine, I don't mind giving it to you guys. So we collect these objects. Wherever we go to a haunted location, I'm the person who scouts. So Sarvajit will ask me, what, bhaiya, dekho, if you can find anything from here. So a lot of places we don't really. But there are some places when we completely know, okay, fine, this is the main source of all the disturbances that are happening. So we get them back along, we shield it, and we get it back along. And so those are all there at my house right now.
Okay.
On top of the fridge.
On top of the fridge?
Yeah.
Wow, get up at night to make a cheese sandwich. And
Yeah.
Hey! And some cheese sandwiches? What's the star object in all those? What's the most intense one?
In those, there is a mirror. There's a big mirror which opens a portal, and it will be like multiple entities that can go in and out through that. So we always keep it covered, and that is there on my loft.
What's a portal?
Is a portal is a doorway, is an entryway to the other world, to the other side of the world.
So all mirrors are portals?
No, they can be though. Potentially they can be, but they aren't.
Let's talk about this. This scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, dude. Like when I used to look in the mirror and just smile, I used to feel like
Nah,
a
it's
little
not like
creeped
that.
out.
I mean, that is pareidolia. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you look at anything and you form, your brain works that they try to form a pattern and whatever, you'll try to see different things. Not every mirror is a portal. Not every place is haunted, and not everything is a demonic entity. But portals are created by mirrors which are facing each other sometimes, because it causes an endless loop. So it gives a sort of what is that called? An entryway, a passageway for the other people or the other worldly and outworldly entities to actually enter this world. It happens even in Vastu, for that matter, Vastu, and even in Feng Shui also. They usually say you shouldn't be keeping a mirror opposite each other.
So when you go to one of these carnivals where there are all those mirror rooms, that's actually dangerous?
If you sit around over there and keep watching all around, yeah, probably you might feel the density. But because the atmosphere over there is pretty much lightened up by everything that is going on around, the festive atmosphere that is going on, you're constantly moving through the maze, that thing doesn't really affect.
Okay. You want to talk a little bit about this mirror world? What's on the other side of it?
A lot of entities that come from different galaxies, from different dimensions, especially. Like we stay in the third dimension, right? And to us, this object, whatever is there over here, is this exactly finite, right? If I ask you to take this and throw it out of this, or take it out of this room without puncturing the walls or without opening the doors, it'll be impossible to us. But a person in the higher dimension will be able to do that very easily. It'll just disappear out of our presence and just appear outside. Like the same way, if you take a plane, a paper, and put a two-dimensional person along with an object, a coin, inside a room, right, and ask him to move that object outside the room without puncturing or opening any door, it'll be impossible for him.
I think maybe another way of understanding this is an ant. An ant would probably be a two-dimensional.
Not an ant. An ant will work on top of that. But if I draw a figure, a stick figure inside that, along with a coin, right, and put a boundary around it and say, you know what, you move this coin outside the boundary without breaking the boundary, he will not be able to do that. But for us, it's very, very easy. For a three-dimensional person, it's very easy. I just pick up the coin, take it in the third dimension, and place it out. And for that particular time, it will be invisible for that person. You'll say, okay, fine, this one just disappeared from my world and just suddenly appeared outside. So in the same way, what we do is in a third dimension is, if I ask you to pick up any of these objects and move it outside these three-dimensional limitations, it'll be impossible to us. We cannot see how I will be able to throw a ball outside this wall or the ceiling or the floor without actually puncturing any of those. But a person in the higher dimension, so it's very easy. You just pick it out and keep it out. And for that point of time, it will be invisible for us. It'll be suddenly, oh my God, this is chamatkar, this is magic, right? So in the same way, mirrors work in the same way. They create a different impression of what we see. Endless loops and everything of what we see. And what we see, again, is only the three-dimensional impression of what is happening actually in the higher dimensions. So what happens is, these open portals for the other higher dimensions people or different dimensional people to actually enter this world. Like the spiritual world, the energy level, everything will increase.
What else can work as a portal other than two mirrors facing each other?
There are natural portals as well, like wherein 3 elements or 4 elements interact with each other. Sometimes some places they just create portals like water bodies, probably trees, right? Say about against each other or whatever like that. Some places, some places become natural portals for entities to enter and go.
Okay, like, could someone's house become a portal if you do a certain ritual there?
Yeah, sure. Like for example, if at all there are objects placed in tandem which emit a lot of EMF, and like for example, an inverter battery, probably a Wi-Fi router, or probably even a refrigerator or something like that, if they're kept in a triangular portion or something like that, as there was one case that we solved like this. It creates a portal over there, and you will find a lot of entities coming in and out, and you will see that. And it's not just hallucination because everybody else is seeing.
What do they actually visually see?
entities walking in and out that walls and doors. But the EMF is not actually radiated outside. It's only in that particular triangle. So you cannot say this is a hallucination, because it would have been hallucination if at all you're standing inside that EMF pollution and then afterwards, experiencing this.
Okay.
But it is completely outside, and from outside the house or outside that place that a person is seeing, entities just come in and out, walking out the wall and going inside.
What does an entity look like visually?
Whatever it was in his previous life.
Like a ghost of a person.
Of a person, exactly.
Will have the same face as that person.
Exactly.
How do you know it's a ghost?
You don't, actually, unless it does something like this, like just walking inside a wall, and then okay, fine, you know what? Oh, this is something that is unnatural. That really cannot happen. Or the person just disappearing, or probably just glowing, or probably just a shadow figure.
Anything scary looking?
Not really.
They look like normal humans.
They look like normal humans. Not really. Not really scary. Scary has been portrayed by movies because they want to scare people. That's why I don't watch horror movies, because they scare people. But I deal with the real ghosts every day. So they're not really scary.
There was a movie that came out called Hereditary, in which they pray to a demon called Paimon. And Paimon is an actual demon, where within the movie they've shown chants for Paimon and all that. Is it wrong for me to say the name?
No, not really.
Nothing like that.
Nothing.
Okay. There are actual Paimon chants within the movie. And we had someone else on the show who had mentioned that, listen, like, I can't believe that there's a movie like this that's made where so much darkness is infused in the movie. These are actual demonic chants which are put inside the movie, and then people all over the world are watching this. And this has become a cult movie. It's one of the scariest movies I've seen in my life, honestly. Is the demon that I named, is it one of Lucifer's key demons? Is it one of the leader demons?
Might be.
Okay.
Might be.
Okay. Are there these core demons which are like a sort of demonic core team in the world of demonology?
They can be.
Okay.
They can be, because there are some demons. As I said, I don't want to put a hierarchy to them, but there are some demons who are more effective than the others. There are some demons who may cause an illusion. They may cause a hallucination. They may cause, say, about a sense of pride in you, right? So these demons are more dangerous. Like, see, there's a body, there's a soul that powers you up. The body is the hardware and the soul is the software. It's just a power that's powering you up. A battery in a phone will work differently than a battery in a toy. Right. But then after, there's a programming, that's a spirit. There's a programming that tells the power what to do along with the hardware. So there's a body, there's a soul, and there's a spirit. Right. Body level demons are different. Right. A body has fluids. It has soft tissue. It has flesh and all the organs. And it also has something known as the bones. Right. The fluids are easily, transferable. Right, you donate your blood, it will regenerate again. You cry every day again, right? You pee every day, you sweat every day, and it's still regenerated. So, fluid level diseases or demons are easy to dispel, easy. Then after the flesh level demons, if you have a gash in your skin, that takes more time to heal. So those level of demons, like if you have cancer, those level of demons are slightly more superior than just the fluid levels, right? Okay. Demons, again, as I say, are only diseases. You don't want them. And bones are the most permanent part of the body. So you bury the bones for thousands of years, they will turn into fossil, but they'll still be there. So bone level demons and injuries and diseases are more that difficult to heal. That's the reason fractures take that much more time. Okay. So we come to the soul level. In the soul level also, there is something known as an energy, that's your core. Then after, there's an aura, which is surplus of your energy. So your aura can disappear in a twinkling. If you see your khadus boss walking in, or if a manipulative person walking in, you lose your aura. But if you see another person, you might get angry or you might get something. So your aura is manipulated very easily. It can regenerate also very easily. But the energy that you have takes time to build up. Like what we call in Ayurveda, Dincharya, right? The Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So those take time. Those levels, the chakras take time to heal. You can balance them, but through a process. It is not just done by medicine, but it is done by diet and proper care. Okay. Right? And then afterwards, there is something known in the soul known as consciousness. So consciousness can be taken away, and that takes more time to regain. Like if you're in a coma, it will take you that much time more to get back, and you don't know exactly what. Right, you might go into a death-like situation, near-death situation, and where even the doctors will pronounce you medically dead. but then you can come back from that as well. So that the consciousness always survives. So that is the most permanent part of the soul. So it starts with the aura, then goes to the energy, then goes to the consciousness. So the last part of the person is the spirit, which is the most permanent part of a person. So even in the spirit also, it's the motivation which can come and go in a twinkling. And the motivation is based upon the second part of the spirit, which is the conscience. Right. The conscience will determine whether you are motivated to do good or bad. If you have got a dead conscience, then you will be a criminal. If you're a person who is conscientious in life, then you will always take the right decisions, or you will at least fear to take the bad decisions. And then after, the most permanent part of the spirit is a memory. The memory of a person will never go. I'm not talking about DNA memory that can be manipulated by amnesia or dementia, but this is the DNA memory that transcends generations and lives. So that's the reason a past life regression always works, because that is the memory that is retrieved, right? So these demons, when we say the demons that work upon the memory of a person, right, makes that person's conscience dead, and then after they'll work upon the motivation, and that spirit will govern what the soul does along with the body. So those demons are more potent, they are more powerful. So I wouldn't like to put a hierarchy, but they are programmed to do that. So you fear those demons more than these. Like there are criminals. They don't think they've done anything wrong. And they don't know they're possessed. But the person in society, any sane person in society knows, okay, fine, this is wrong and this is right. According to him, this is right. And that's the evil is there parallelly running along with the good.
Okay.
So those levels of demons, I would say, are more potent to manipulate anybody. And if they take over, like for example, these chants and all that you're talking about in the film, if you're chanting them, if I'm getting afflicted and if that's motivating me to do something wrong or bad, then after that is potent. But if I just listen to any chant and that doesn't affect me, like people listening to prayers and bhajans every day and it doesn't affect them from doing anything wrong. If a bhajan cannot change a person to do something good, how can a chant motivate a person to do something wrong? Unless it is inborn in him.
You need to be able to take it in also and live with it, practice it. Then maybe it changes something on your subconscious level.
Exactly. So it's like, you might call an alcoholic a bad person and you may call a person who is a teetotaler a good person. But you might find a teetotaler also indulging in crime, and you might find a drunkard also doing charity. So it's not exactly what you intake. It's exactly how you act upon it.
Jeffrey Dahmer and these guys who went to jail after going about the serial killings. Claim that they were motivated by a demon which was telling them to commit murder.
That's so easy, no? So convenient. Like how Adam said, I didn't do it. The girl that you sent, my companion, she made me do this. And even the wife also, Eve, also says the same thing. Not me. There's a serpent over there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. So it's very easy to blame it on the devil, but it is you who did it. So you have to bear the consequences.
But do you think there are demons that could influence people to go about serial killings?
There will be. There are.
There are?
Yeah, there are.
What do they tell those people?
That's what they manipulate the mind. They kill the conscience and they say that this is right. There's so much of wrong going on in life and good is of no good. God is not there. And God, if God is there, then he is either powerless or merciless. Because if he was powerful, then he wouldn't let all these things happen. And if he was merciful, then he would pay heed to everything, all the wrong that is happening. But they don't understand the entire mechanism of God because they think of God as a sky daddy who is watching over everybody. It's not like that. So what the demons of those level do is, or the Satan for that matter says is, God is not good enough. You have to take things in your own hand and you have to kill all the bad or the poor or whoever is you think is wrong. So yes.
Okay. Have you visually seen an entity yourself?
Yes, I have.
And interacted with it?
Yeah.
What's the energy exchange like in that conversation?
It's just telepathically, because a person or ghost who doesn't have a physical body will not have ears, will not have vision. So it cannot see me. It cannot hear me. So me speaking verbally or orally out in a loud voice will actually not help. It's just the vibrations of my voice. So if I can replicate that in telepathy, then it's just another conversation.
As in you try thinking about what you want to project.
Telepathically projecting, yes.
How does one telepathically project? You just think your thoughts out loud.
There are different ways actually. Like for example, we know that data can be transferred via light, fiber optics, right? So there's enough of light over here. So there's so much of data that I can manipulate and I can actually send you. So that will be non-verbal communication. And when I'm actually verbally communicating, what I'm doing is I'm manipulating the medium air causing a vibration, and the frequency is something that you're decoding. The same thing is going on in these mics, and it's getting decoded over there, right? So in the same way, when I speak, the same vibrations are caught by every other surface that is there around over here. If at all we know how to decode that, right now we are just decoding data in binaries technically, but otherwise the universe will be working in more than binaries. So that's how even psychometry works when we touch these objects. So even telepathically, you use different mediums like air or light or anything for that matter, or even water, even fire, anything. So when you project it telepathically, it then happens. You need to.
Okay. Do these ghosts not know that they're ghosts?
They don't.
They think they're normal humans.
Yes.
They are able to see you, or are you the ghost for them?
No, they see us as any other person, right? It's when I acknowledge or we acknowledge their presence, is that okay, fine, somebody is seeing me. Somebody is not ignoring me. And then afterwards they try to interact. Otherwise, they have no energy, right? They have nothing. Their metabolism is very different from our metabolism. When we want energy, what we do is we have our food, we have our meals, and that's how we interact. We become strong. If I fast for 10 days, and on the 11th day somebody says, you know what, let's chill in a pub, I would say rather, no, I can't dance right now. I'm feeling very weak. I wouldn't be that energetic. So it needs meals for a person to get energy. But these people are just invisible entities. So how do they gather their energy? So there is a EMF, there are other things that they light or probably whatever like that. They feed off other entities, and then afterwards probably plants or something like that. And then they get their energy. So they will only spend their energy towards on a person who actually will recognize them. Otherwise, why would they want to spend it? So there's this whole idea of entities always wanting to latch on to other people or wanting to interact or scare them is actually wrong, because they wouldn't want to.
Okay.
But they don't know. But they don't know whether they're dead or not. They don't know that.
This is one thing I've learned from Sarbabai and Pooja. You have to first sometimes convince the entity that it's dead and tell it to go. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. But there are some entities who wouldn't want to go. They know that they're ghosts, but they still have some desires left in life that they don't want to cross over.
Like what?
Probably they want to know exactly the state of their parents or the people who are living, the kin who are there left behind. Probably the orphan child right now. They want to know about that. Sometimes they are attached to their property. What are my assets going to do right now? Where's my gold hidden? What is going to happen of that? Sometimes if at all they have died an unnatural death, they want revenge. So they will search for that person, but without having any eyes, without having any ears, without having any feet or something like that. How do they find that person? So they aren't. So they're just wandering around, and they don't want to cross over because they are attached to their desires here.
But they have the option to cross over.
They do.
And they just don't want to, in the same way that, as a human, sometimes you're just attached to something. You don't want to leave your house. Something like that.
Yeah, you do want to. But then after sometimes, these entities are coexisting along with us. The invisible entities are also coexisting with us. It's like any other ant, any other rodent, any other insect, right? As long as they're coexisting, there is no problem. After they become a pest is when we have to, do pest control. So that's exactly what even with these entities. They're living around, they're all there, everywhere. And as long as they're not disturbing anyone, we don't disturb them. So even when we go to a haunted location, we ask them whether they need that help. If they need that help, we're always there to provide the light.
Okay. Have you met any of them in your dreams?
Not in my dreams, actually. In my dreams, I'm in a very different realm altogether. Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well in another section. Let's finish off this section.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult entity you had met who just wasn't willing to go?
There was one place outside. I've spoken about this earlier. There was one place outside Mumbai, on the outskirts of Mumbai, where we went investigating. And there were two entities fighting against each other. The entity that was outside that particular place of worship was more turbulent and violent because it wanted revenge over the entity that is inside that place of worship, hiding inside. So that entity, because I telepathically also communicated like a week in advance with that, right? And it actually led us to that place.
It was two humans who were fighting against each other?
Two dead humans.
Who just had a rivalry?
Yeah.
Had they killed each other or something?
One of them had killed the other.
One of them had killed the other.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
So it had a terrible backstory actually. It was like about the landowners, a brick-kiln owner, right, whose son had raped and killed the daughter of the other worker, and then afterwards killed them all. And then after, when the lady came back, lady of the house was much more powerful, much more strong. So when she came back, she killed all of those people in revenge. But the wife of the landowner just escaped and hid in the
When you're saying lady came back, you're saying as a spirit she
the mother of the girl who was killed.
came back in human form.
She was in human form.
She was alive.
Yeah, she was alive.
And she killed this person's family.
Exactly.
How?
Single-handedly with whatever she could get.
Really?
Really, yeah. We confirmed this story from the locals then.
This would have happened a while ago, or like
Maybe 30, 40 years ago. This was not 30, 40 years ago, maybe 50, 60 years ago. This was in the 1960s or something like that, yeah. That happened there. And we confirmed this from the locals. That's exactly what, because our psychic readings, we can always say that, this is all just made up. But when we confirm these facts from people in a very subtle manner, we just ask like, yahan par kya hua? And then they will say, yahan nahi jana. I said, no, it's okay. It's just about the snakes or whatever, scorpions that you might be worried about. I said, nahi, wo nahi hai. There is something else. And then we understand. And then after we ask them, like subtly just prodding in, like what happened over here? Why is it forbidden? Why don't you guys visit after dark and everything like that? Then afterwards they tell us the story and everything, which is again the confirmation of what we already know. So the bits and parts, wherever the jigsaw puzzle pieces are missing, actually gets filled up there.
do you use like police records and all to like
Police wouldn't believe in this, right? But there are police cases that I've helped also resolve. Yeah.
You're giving me 2-3 more tangents, but we'll come back to this story.
No, but we wouldn't speak about those because those can have legal implications.
Okay, fair. Like the police has consulted with you to solve.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, son.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was one police case wherein his own son was killed and he couldn't solve it. So I had to, yeah.
Okay. Coming back to this auntie story.
Yeah. So when we went over there, it was already past dark. We had to convince an old person to actually lead us to that place, and it was completely dilapidated. We couldn't see any entrance. We had to walk up a jungle in a hill and get to that place
In Mumbai.
on the outskirts of Mumbai.
You're not comfortable revealing the location.
It's better not to.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I'll say around Karjat. But around Karjat, not really Karjat. It's
Sure,
on the other side.
sure.
Yeah. But that's exactly where it happened. And so when we went over there, I was already interacting with this lady, and we were there inside the mandir. Okay, and it was a completely broken down mandir. And I told those people, you know what? Don't just stand below this broken down bow, the pillar. And I said, this can actually crumble down anytime on any of you, and we'll have to come next year to investigate your case. Yeah, because I mean, manifestation can happen anyhow, right? Yeah. So, first of all, what led us to that place was an interaction we had on a different segment, and one person revealed that this has happened to them there. That they took a segue, they took a sort of a detour on the way to Goa, and they just happened to just chance upon this location. And when they clicked photographs of that place, selfies of that place, they could hear somebody just violently run towards them from inside the mandir, and that just freaked them out. And they returned back to Bombay, and there were 4 friends. Out of that, 3 people died of fever.
What?
Unexplained fever that week. In that week, so the 4th person somehow just survived. And thereafter, finally, when he gave the story. But after that, his mother detracted him from accompanying us because he was scared. He said, why are you getting back into this? You're not even married. Don't get into that. So anyways, we found that place. We went to the locals and we found this place somehow or the other. And that person again told us, don't go there. We said, it's okay. We just leave us. And on the condition that we drop him back again to his original shop, he led us there. And we told our driver to just drop him back. So there we parked, and then afterwards we went inside, completely in the jungle. When we reached that mandir, first of all, we reached another place, and I said, no, this is not the place. It is somewhere below, because my psychic senses are that sharp. So then afterwards we went ahead, and it just looked like just another house. It was not looking like a mandir with a courtyard in front, nothing like that, just like another house. So I said, no, this is the place. So one of the crew members just opened the door, and there was nothing inside. And I was like, no, this is that place. So when I stepped inside, I opened another door, and like any other old horror movie, it opened like with a creak and a cringe, like completely like that, just with that sound and everything. It was very difficult to push it. But then there were all the objects and all that were kept inside, like kalashes and some blood stains around,
What?
ashes and everything. Yeah, and a lot of dark stuff was done.
Someone
there.
was performing rituals.
Maybe not just one, because there were more than 15 to 20 kalashes. So there may be many other people who are doing a lot of stuff there. So it was dense. It was very dense. It was like completely dilapidated, broken down, and it was completely taken over by shrubbery all around, all the bushes and everything around. From there, I could just see the courtyard, the front door, and it was completely locked with a lot of tough chains. So we couldn't go there. So when the team started investigating inside, I just felt, let me just go out alone and check exactly what the entity outside is doing. So when I went from the side, I just, I could see the creepers around, and I just picked up the creepers with my hand, right, holding a ghost meter in my hand like this. And then after that, I went inside in the courtyard and started interacting with the entity. But the entity was very, very stubborn, completely obstinate, was not ready to come on the gadgets. And from a very investigative perspective, this is a waste, because I want to record everything that is happening on the gadgets. Telepathically, I can speak to 10 different entities. How does it prove that it is not my own hallucination or my mind not playing tricks on me on my own? I want the interactions over here because I'm recording this, right? It's not happening. It's organically trying to communicate with me, and it's not letting me, I'm not coming on the gadget. I'm trying to tell everything. Far off in a distance, there is another dog that is barking. And just as a matter of confirmation, I ask, at least make the dog quiet. And within seconds, the dog just stops barking. In a distance, far away, completely, it just stops barking. And I say, okay, fine. This is a confirmation. This is not my mind playing tricks, because the dog had been barking for a long time, maybe for 3 or 4 minutes altogether. And this was not a matter of coincidence. So it happened. And then after they said, okay, fine, now you're not coming on the gadgetry, you're doing all this stuff. This is not actually helping me at all. So fine, let me go inside and check what is happening over there, right? The moment I try quitting the courtyard and going back inside the mandir, this feeble creepers became such thick boughs or branches of trees and just stopped my way from going inside.
Like plants got activated.
Yeah. Plants got activated, as they show in the horror movies sometimes, that they become such thick and they become like branches of a tree, and they stopped my way. That feeble branches, the creepers that I could just pick up like this and just walk inside, just came and blocked my way. And it was very unusual. I said, this is not what I wanted from this place. And I was like, telepathically, just in a quarrel with that entity. I said, you don't do this.
This was that auntie's entity?
Yes, it was.
Who had killed that entire family?
Who had killed the entire family.
Okay, go on.
So after this, I had to literally crawl out of that place and get into the mandir again. And nobody inside knew exactly what happened with me outside there. And more than the entity, I was more scared of the beast that could have manifested. Right? There could be leopards or whatever, because that was a jungle, complete jungle. So if at all this entity had manifested in the way of a leopard or something like that, that would be much more treacherous.
That can happen.
That can definitely happen.
Okay.
That can definitely happen. Like snakes, scorpions, anything. We've seen them all. So that happens. Like entities and demons can manifest them through humans. So they get possessed, right? The same way, any of these things can happen. But then afterwards, when we went inside, and afterwards the entire investigation all got over, we came outside and we cleansed that place.
How?
Just removing that entity from that place, just forcefully crossing her over.
How? There's a ritual.
There is a ritual.
Okay. So you had to perform an exorcism of the place.
Of the place. So that's called a cleansing. That's not actually an exorcism. That's a cleansing.
Okay. Which is, I'm sure, extremely technical. There's like a bunch of steps and
densities and all. Yeah, that matter. The same way that we cleanse a lot of other locations, like private cases that we go to, people say that the place is haunted or something like that. So first we will search for any other anomaly like EMF pollution, or probably even a Vastu anomaly or something like that. And if at all that is the cause of the problem, then we just directly tell you know what, a Vastu consultant will be better, right? Why do you actually want to do this? So you do that, everything, all those things first, and only then if the anomaly still exists, only then we step in. So that's how the cleansing happens.
Okay. One thing I've learned from Sarbabhai and Pooja is that you have to approach these cases with a sense of empathy towards the entity.
Yeah.
But even if it's an entity like this which has murdered a whole family, which is being aggressive with you, you're still supposed to show empathy.
Otherwise, it will not interact with you, no?
So you're supposed to say, Maji, sorry,
No, not
आपके
really.
साथ क्या हुआ?
Not really. It's like you, I mean, in a criminal case, for that matter, like incriminating a criminal, right? If a person is accused, he's still not a criminal. So if at all you show your sakti over that person will not actually break down. So
Even
you
their
employ different methods.
Empathy is required.
Yes.
Okay. Why was this particular one more difficult? Because the spirit was adamant.
Yeah, and it physically restrained me from getting out. Otherwise, this has never happened before, anytime.
Okay. Do you think it would have come for your life if you had fear or
If I had fear, yes, it could have. It could have tried to manifest itself through me. It could have possessed me. It could have attached itself to me and tried to work through me.
Do you think that this lady was probably spiritually strong?
Through the years, yes.
As an entity, she had become spiritual.
See, it's like this. Like over, say, about years, like suppose a person is dead and it still doesn't want to cross over. A person, an enlightened person, knows, okay, fine, this is the purpose of the universe, right? Like the animals and the birds, they have no, a desire in life as such. They just want to eat, right? And they just want to procreate. There is no insurance. There is no investments. There are no fixed deposits. There are nothing like that. They don't hide anything. Once they're dead, they just let go. It's okay. I'll go to the next life. But humans, no. We have a lot of desires. We have a lot of botherations that keep us bound to this place. So an enlightened being will think about, okay, fine, this is my life. And if this is my death, no matter how violent it is, I'll just let go and just go to my next assignment, my next life. But there are some people who will not let go very easily. They want their possessions. They through their desire, they stay over here, right? So immediately they might not go. But they have to disintegrate sometime or the other. It's just energy. Energy can convert itself from one form to the other. It cannot just get destroyed. But the thing is, if these people have learned the method to stay put, gather energy without eating food and staying for such a long time, for 40, 50 years, why would they want to go to the next life sometime?
Again, you gather energy out of interacting with people from the human realm or
any other source. Any other source. It can be light, it can be densities of air, it could be anything, water through which they manifest, anything.
So there are multiple techniques in that realm also to accumulate further energy.
Exactly. Like a person might fast for 3 days and still be healthy. So our consumption is not only limited to the food that we eat. The consumption is also the things that we see, the things that we experience. So all that is consumption that makes us what we are.
Okay. You also said that temple had people performing rituals inside it. The one thing I know about any kind of rituals is that when you perform it in an area, it changes the energy of the place as well.
Of course.
So could this lady's spirit be feeding off the energy?
That yeah.
She would have become powerful there. And that's why she was able to manipulate physical reality as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like poltergeist activities. Like throwing books off a shelf, or probably throwing vessels off a countertop or something like that, or shattering glass. These are poltergeist activities, right? So these entities somehow or the other try to manipulate the medium, like air or probably vibrations or something like that, and cause an anomaly.
And the stronger the entity is, the more it can interact with the physical realm.
Exactly.
So have poltergeists also been humans at some point or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
They could have just been a different kind of being from another realm.
Yeah, there is a difference between a ghost and a demon. Right? A demon is something that has never walked earth. It's like that. A demonic entity is different. A demonic entity are like just free radicals of energy latching on to some memory. Right? Like it's like this. The property of a metal wire is like it is malleable and ductile. It can be molded. It can be in any form and bent in any form. But the moment I give it a shape of a coil, if I heat it and if I increase the density of its molecules, the molecular bond, it becomes a spring. And once it becomes a spring, if I pull it, it will push it, it will still retain its original shape. So what I'm doing over here is, it had energy even before that. It has energy even now. What I'm doing is only ascribing a memory to it. After a certain time, if I heat it again, and if I pull it in a certain way, that memory will be left. And it will again become malleable and ductile again. So in the same way as humans also, as we are all vibrations, we are different, right? Everything is vibration, everything is just energy. right? So what happens is through our DNA, through our genetics, we ascribe memory to each and every cell. So there are some cells that will go and become the heart, and there are some cells that will function like the fingers. And we keep regenerating this through whatever food we're eating, right? Every cell keeps on, multiplying and then afterwards getting degenerated after some time, right? So what we are actually doing is only ascribing memory to the energy. The moment you remove the memory from the energy is free to interact again and go on to this next life. So energy actually cannot be destroyed. It can be only converted from one form to the other. What happens in demons is the free radicals of energy that are moving in the air, wind and everything, these are all energies, right? Suddenly get some spiritual memory to it. If the memory is positive, they form angels and spirit guides. If it is negative, they form demons. So there are some entities, invisible entities, which are positive, and there are some entities which can be negative.
Are there some that are just gray, which are both?
Yeah, they can be. They can be confused. So they cause confusions.
What's the craziest manipulation or illusion that you've come across?
The most recent one, actually, but I wouldn't like to speak about because that's not out yet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but that really happened wherein I was just up a flight of stairs, going up alone to place a gadget somewhere, and I heard just 2 sentences spoken down from someone outside. And in the team, I'm the person who actually deals with the outsiders. So I suddenly came down and asked who spoke. And Pooja said, nobody's speaking over here. And I said, I could hear it. I heard 2 people speaking in Marathi and calling us, something like that. And it was just echoed over here. I said, nobody spoke. And it was like the demon's way of telling me, you know what, don't go up. But that's it. So I went up, placed a gadget, came down again. And through that entire process of our investigation, Sarba, Pooja, and me, felt like somebody was speaking outside. There was a lady screeching somewhere, crying for help somewhere. Someone is peeping out from outside, some torchlight or something like that, as if somebody's coming just to disrupt our investigation. This happened. Okay.
Have you dealt with Ouija boards?
Yeah.
Ouija boards?
Ouija
I think
boards.
we spoke about portals in the last conversation. So is a Ouija board a portal?
It can be.
What is a Ouija board? Like, why don't you just explain it a little
Ouija board is like any kindergarten book with all the letters of the alphabets and the numbers and a yes and no, hello and goodbye written upon that. And you place an object upon that, which is known as a planchette. 3 or 4 people put their fingers on it and it moves on its own. But that works upon the idiomotor effect. It's not really occult. It can be. Why? Because again, it works through manipulation. So the micro muscles of our fingers that twitch makes the planchette move. If I want to move it, I will move it on my own. And I'm manipulated. But what is making me move it? Either my skepticism, my motivation of fooling the others, that itself is a demon. And if I'm not afflicted by the demon of this, I'm not physically actually moving it. I wanted to move it on its own. But moment a question is asked and it moves on its own, it's your micro muscles which are actually pushing the planchette all around the place and going to certain letters and everything. Okay. And from where does the information come? From the recesses of your memory. Oh, that's nice.
I am wearing a cross locket that just fell off. Okay, anyway. What is happening here, man?
Nothing. There's just something physical.
Okay. Micro muscles.
Micro muscles, yeah.
Damn.
So your micro muscles that even twitch on your face and on your eyebrows and all those things, might do even this that is possible or something like that, It happens. So that moves the planchette. It just carries something from the recesses of your memory and gives you the answers. If at all the 4 people don't know anything about what has been asked, you will never find an answer. You might find a very disruptive answer. But yes, this also, this is the scientific logic behind it. But yes, it can also be that you are manipulated by some or the other demon or by something else with the recesses of that memory that you might actually just end up giving good answers. So a Ouija board is very scientific. It's just a plaything. It's nothing, too serious. But you just cannot trivialize it again and just say, okay, fine, you know what, it's just a game board, so you can play with it. No, you never know when it is just a play board and when it can actually invite a demon from another or a dead entity from another zone. And so it's like playing blind dates with evil entities.
But what can possibly cause it to invite an entity? It's random?
Yeah, why not? I mean, given the opportunity to interact with the present world, any dead entity will do anything
Why?
because I want to interact. Suppose I'm dead. Right now, I have my all my mental faculties alive. I have my eyes, I have a nose, I have my tongue to speak, I have my ears, I have all my limbs, I can walk everywhere. But suppose if somebody just gouges my eyes out, suppose I'm deafened by putting acid in my ears, and suppose my whole vocal cords have been taken away and I can't even speak, my tongue is cut. Somebody cuts my limbs, all my limbs, makes me a complete vegetable, and places me in the outskirts of the Saharas or probably in the tribal jungles of Africa. I would want somebody to come and understand my form of communication. For me, a single tap might be a yes and a double tap might be no. But to the person who is interacting with me, a double tap might be a yes and a single tap might be a no. So how do I establish a form of communication? So at that point of time, if somebody really establishes that and I find that this person is understanding me good and is taking me exactly to the water that I want to drink, or is giving me food exactly when I want, or is taking me back to my homeland, I would want to interact with that person. Okay. Suppose you think about a dead entity or a demon. You would always want to get in touch with someone who's understanding them so that they can use that as a medium to communicate with the real world.
Okay. Man, you said that Ouija board could or could possibly not also be a part of the occult. So I want to ask you, what is an actual occult thing?
Anything you want it to be. Like for example, you can cut a log of wood. You can use it as firewood. It serves its purpose. But you fashion a deity out of it, an idol out of it, and start worshipping it, becomes an idol.
As in
A deity.
fire.
No. You take a log of wood, you cut it and you use it for furniture, or you use it as, it serves its purpose. But the moment you carve it into a deity and you worship it, it becomes a deity for you, right? It's what you have in mind for it. So you might take a mirror, stand in front of it and keep on chanting Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary with the intention of seeing Bloody Mary. You will see Bloody Mary.
Really?
Or you will not. Right. If you just play it as a game, nothing is going to happen because Bloody Mary doesn't really work.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Does Bloody Mary work?
No, it doesn't. But if you want it to work, it will work.
How?
You say Bloody Veronica also, for that matter. Bloody Veronica will appear. If you want it to
getting
work.
chills, dude. Why am I getting chills?
You say anything. I mean, for that matter, as I said, a Ouija board is just like a kindergarten student's or person's, I mean, a book which has all the letters of the alphabet down there and all the numbers, right? You want that to happen, it can happen. You ask our questions over there, it can happen. Any form of spirit communication is bullshit if you don't believe in it. For example, even on the gadgetry also that we want, we ask them spike our gadgets, right? You come close to this and it will spike on its own because you contain EMF. So if you come over here, my sensor will sense you, right? You come with that much intensity or you come with less intensity. You want to manifest through, say about in an organic manner by manipulating the birds in the air to chirp, or probably the insects to manifest, or whatever like that. You can ask that. And that will happen. You might think that is random, but if it happens exactly when you ask them the answers, and it happens at that point of time, that means you're getting a communication back in return. Like your dog at home might bark or might not bark throughout the day. But if it is barking exactly when you want it to, when you're asking it to, and is giving you a response, that's a response. So you have to respect that as a response, no matter how skeptic you are about it. But if a dog is exactly, or your bird is exactly chirping when you wanted to chirp, that's a response. So in the same way, any form of spirit communication, be it the Ouija board, be it the gadgets, or be it any form of EVP, electronic voice phenomena, anything, if it is giving you a response to the stimulus that you are providing, that is a response. So it can be good or it can be evil, anything.
Okay. Whew. So many more questions, but I intuitively feel like this is the end of episode 1 with you. All right. Savio Furtado, brother. Thank you. There's a lot more to speak to you about. We've not covered it all. This is an intro episode to you. So I hope you had fun.
I did. I hope it was fun for you too.
It was great. Just a little heavy, but that's fine. We'll move on to the next one. That was the horror special on TRS. We're always looking for new guests who could give us more conversations just like this. So, as listeners, if you know someone who's a professional demonologist, a professional psychic, someone who deals with the occult realm, please drop in your suggestions down below. TRS will be back very soon with more occult themed conversations just like this.